Hello, everyone. And hello, you. Yeah. Oh. This is Dan, First Person Looter, and today I am not playing Stray. I am reviewing Stray. Since I've now platinumed the game, played it all the way through, platinumed it, played chapters multiple times over and over and over again. I'm trying to post my Metacritic review on it, and I've typed 4,880 some odd characters out of the 5,000 character limit, and I get the 404 error every time. I do it on an iPad, I do it on my phone, I do it on the computer. I keep getting the 404 error. I've tried it using Safari, I tried it using the Brave browser. It's not working, so I just posted saying, I gave it my rating, and I said, you want to know my detailed review, go to my YouTube channel. But I don't actually have the full review up, so I'm going to do that now. I did give my notes about it in the end of the last video, but I'm going to repeat them here just so I have everything together in one video. So I had a little analysis that I was starting on, but I really only mentioned the opening here, and that's fine. So why don't I talk about this? So the opening scene starts on a rainy day, and this contrasts with the rest of the game, in which there's no other perceivable weather. There's no rain, no sun, no snow, no wind. The opening, in the rain, the very first shot, when you see all of the cats, you see your 3 cat family members and yourself. And there's only one thing you can do: greet them all before progressing to the next scene, which I took as a hint by the game as to one of the forms of gameplay ahead, where you have to interact with multiple robots before progressing to the next stage of the game. The cats go to sleep, and we're awoken the next day by a butterfly that rests on our ear. The cat wakes up and heads down to the outside walls, where there's even more greenery, more sunlight, nature's everywhere, which is a further illustration and contrast to what we're going to experience inside the walls, where it all appears to be consistently nighttime, unless the story takes place over the course of one night, even if you take naps. But I wrote that before we know what happens now. I was taking notes before we finished. We saw exactly what was going on, why it was constantly nighttime. An interesting ambient style of music plays when the cats first line up together before jumping down into the wall. An interesting style of music plays with a childlike pitter-patter of notes from a xylophone or a marimba. The instrument itself has an innocence to it, but the way it's played and blanketed in mysterious ambience also feels a little unsettling, which I think also is sort of a microcosm of the whole game. You're a cat, that's cute, it does a lot of cute things. Some robots are cute, but of course the city is a little mysterious, a lot mysterious, a little scary. So I like that the music had that balance already. When we then cut to a wide shot of the cats coming down the pipes, we see just how large the outside structure is and are greeted with a large title card with a mysterious language. It conveys that we're not in the world as we know it. Maybe it's the same year or even decade. It also conveys that there are going to be more locations to discover, and this game might be larger and longer than we first thought. That's what she said. So those are my notes at the beginning, but about the beginning of it. My review, however, was I only purchased 2 games on their release day, The Last of Us Part 2 and Stray. Yes, I'm a cat lover and cat dad, so I'm probably their core audience, but I feel I can think objectively and fairly enough to say this game will have an appeal to non-cat owners and lovers as well. The story is an intriguing mystery, the kind that I think would keep most people interested. The shorter runtime means there's no filler, nothing unnecessary. Each story beat is meaningful and effective. And to be honest, there was more story than I assumed based on the trailer. It's easy enough to follow. I was never confused. There were moments where I came back to the game and I forgot exactly what was going on, but that's not because the story was confusing. We leave, we come back. I've got a short-term memory sometimes. There were not too many characters to juggle and forget who was who, but unless you stop the game for a little bit, and you are someone like me. But the story wasn't so short and simple that it felt like it was a kid's game. In terms of graphics, the very first seconds I was a little disappointed that I didn't see the same high fidelity, filmic, film grain, 24 frames a second look which I saw in the trailers. The cutscenes in the game looked that way, but not the gameplay. And that's fine, the graphics still looked beautiful, animations were outstanding, the cat looks amazing. The developers say that they had one person doing keyframe animations for the cat. No motion capture, that's crazy. And I know most gamers prefer the 60 frame a second as a minimum, so I get why they would do that. I guess on the PS4 it's 30 frames a second. I don't know what it is on PC. The level design was beautiful. Even if there's a lot of ways to climb up vertically only to not go anywhere, it's still beautiful seeing the lines and lights and colors that draw your eye upwards. It's a fantastic use of visuals to guide your eyes, which I mentioned when we first went into that room with Seamus, I guess. Gameplay, this piano is much louder than what I was hearing before. Gameplay, I felt there was a nice balance between exploration, relaxing platforming, tense platforming, action moments with chase, and stealth. It was a nice variety, nicely paced. I never felt bored. I never felt like any gameplay form wore its welcome. Sound, speaking of piano being louder, sound. A very interesting use of music. In the opening, there's an almost childlike xylophone or marimba instrument playing, but it also has something a little off about it. A perfect audio representation of the game's style as a whole. It's fun and mysterious, innocent and dangerous. I also love the use of no music. Sometimes having no music at all and just listening to your environment can be an incredibly rewarding and immersive in this game. Oh, and this game is an example of doing that right. And no one can talk about the sound without mentioning the dedicated meow button. I like that there are a few different meows that are heard from that button, and that the other cats, at least they seem to, respond and the robots react to it. I love that there's different reverb to the meow depending on where you meow, while you're in a bedroom versus in the street, versus into a sewer grate. The UI in the HUD, there isn't any except for the button prompts, and when you need to use your robot companion B12, get it, Blue 12 Studios, for a reminder of what to do or to use your inventory. And I love having absolutely no UI. This is coming from someone who has argued in favor of Ubisoft games with their overabundance of UI information. I do like that. I do like that sometimes. I'm happy to see you show me everywhere I need to go. I don't want to know how to get there, but if you're telling me that there's something over there, that's great. That's fine. Stray doesn't need a health or stamina bar. You don't need ammo count. There is a weapon in the game that has its own extremely minimum HUD, if you can even call it that, which is the purple UV gun that has the burnout meter thing, but it's so small and it's sitting right next to B12, who's already floating around on the screen. You can get hurt and you can die in the game. Blue 12 doesn't need a HUD to show you that you're getting hurt, though. They take a different visual route. The entire screen becomes more and more red. No more piano. Hardware. I've been saying this a lot. The DualSense controller and adaptive triggers are not a gimmick. And they are incredibly immersive. Yeah, there we go. And I strongly believe and will strongly argue that they are just as important as proper use of physics, animation, and graphics in games. Stray delivers in a lot of wonderful ways. I will actually just leave it at that so you can be surprised when it happens, but if you must know, the official Stray website lists a bunch of things you will feel. But if you're watching this video, you've hopefully already seen me play it, so I can talk about, because this review that I wrote was supposed to be for Metacritic, for people who haven't played it yet, but if you're watching this video, then you've probably watched the gameplay already. So yeah, the tension on the triggers when you scratch things and the vibrations of the purr, and just walking along the floaty raft when you go into the rivers, you can feel the kind of mushy. It feels mushy. Or you can just feel the sort of the hard pitter patter of the feet going across metal surfaces, or you felt the rain drops in the beginning. I love all those different subtle differences. Length. As mentioned above, it's a shorter game. Some people claim to have finished it in just 4 hours. That might be possible. On our playthrough, I wasn't trying to get through every single little thing before moving on, but I did want to explore. I did want to talk to everyone. There were a few memories and collectibles I missed, and okay, there was a lot of times I just wanted to experiment with physics and gush over cat cuteness. I hit the end credits around 8 hours. I still have memories, collectibles to find, and several trophies. Well, not anymore. I don't know how long it says I've played when I did all of that, how many more hours it was. I mean, you can watch the streams and check the time on that and see how long it took. And the game only costs $30. I say it's worth it. Bugs, glitches, and issues. Very, very few. Nothing that broke the game or took me out of the immersion. Maybe a little funny. A couple of weird physics issues, but again, nothing that prevented me from playing. No restarting, not even a minute worth of glitches in my 8 hours. There needs to be a DLC or sequel. I also wanted to add that, like, the issues, not issues, my wish list for the game would to have a better system on your collectibles. When we go into the chapters, when you go into your chapter selection, okay, 13 hours it says there. See, it says 27 of 27 for memories, but it doesn't tell you how many of the badges you got. It doesn't tell you how many of the music sheets you got. It doesn't tell you how many of the flowers you got. And I guess they don't want to spoil that what you have to get is papers and flowers. So just have a word for them. Have those also be called collectibles along with the badges. I mean, I don't know how you would do it necessarily, because you get a badge for collecting the music sheets. But yeah, you can have like collectibles this many, and that could be the sheets. And then how many badges have you got? So in the case of the musician, it can say you have 0 of 8 collectibles and 0 of 1 badges. I don't know if there's another badge that you can get in that area. So when you're in the slums, say 7 of 7 memories, 0 of 8 collectibles, and 0 of 1 badge. Have something like that. I also wish that there was a better save system. I know that you can hit a checkpoint, and if you die, you start from that checkpoint. I don't remember how it worked when we live streamed this. If we quit to the main menu and when we came back, were we restarting at a checkpoint? I think we made sure we would stop the game when we hit a new location, so we're just starting a new chapter. So I don't know what would happen if during your first playthrough, like like Midtown was my big issue when I was going for all the collectibles to get into the corporation building. You'd have to go through all of the puzzle stuff to be able to get Blazer to open up the door to have him sneak you in with the box. And when I wanted to redo that, just that part to get like the collectibles that are in there, the keys from the guy, I had to go through the whole chapter. And I wish you could select, I wish you could do like a manual save and say, save this point right here, and then I can load that particular save. That would be nice. I would be happy to do that. Because even if I've completed the game, I don't mind loading that particular save and getting those items in that save, so at least it registers on the PlayStation and I get the achievement for it, and I don't have to go through the whole thing. And I did say during all of that yeah, I mean, the game's fairly short, so I guess you sort of have the time to run through the whole thing and get it again. It gives you more that you have to do to get these trophies and achievements and stuff. So I guess it could be argued that maybe people want to have to be able to do all of that all over again, so they have more stuff to do. But it'd be nice to have the option of choosing that exact point. And then if you want the challenge, then just start the chapter from the beginning. You can have those options. Start from the chapter or start from these subsections in the chapter. But those are my only... those are the only things on my wish list. It's not a deal breaker at all. It was a little frustrating when I didn't know what I needed to do, and like I missed the one scratch post, and I went all the way back around, did the whole thing again. But yeah, the game's short enough that I guess that's okay. And when I was first thinking about the review, I'm kind of glad that Metacritic screwed me up, because I was giving it a 9, thinking like, oh, well, yeah, it's not a full game, so I shouldn't give it a 10 perfect score if the game isn't even really a full game. But I have to step back and think, well, what did the creators want to do with this game? Because what is a rating anyway? What is a perfect 10 out of 10 game? It's not an objective thing, but it's not even really a subjective thing. I feel like you just have to look at it as, well, what did these game developers want to set out to do? Did they reach their goals in all the ways possible and make a game that's playable and it works? There's not like game-breaking bugs. It was ready to ship. It was ready to play. And they obviously set out to tell a shorter story, just something that's easy to follow, simple narrative. It's like a short story. We're playing like a short story. So knowing that it's going to be a shorter game, in terms of story, I would give that a 10 out of 10. It would be a 10 out of 10 short story. I'm using those metrics. In terms of like graphics, I mean, you can have different styles of graphics. Does it look realistic enough if they're going for realism? Does it look fun and cartoonish enough? Is it just vomiting colors on you? And that was their intention. I mean, as long as it's not giving people seizures and making people sick, then I would probably argue that's a 10 out of 10. I guess, to me, I don't know. So this obviously set out to have a level of realism, but also a sort of fantastical realism, because you're playing as a cat, so that's the fantastical part. It's post-apocalyptic in a world that hasn't actually happened, so that's sort of science fiction-y. So that's a little, yeah. So that's fantastical. So I would say that I think that they were going for fantastical realism, and it looks very good. I would give it a 10 out of 10 for trying to be fantastically real. That you can trip over robots. There's a bunch of cute little physics things. Yeah, I mean, there was that one bit of lag when you have to take the battery out. It doesn't break the game. It doesn't stop me from doing anything in the game. It doesn't screw me up doing something in the game. It doesn't like slow me down immensely. It's just a little flicker. So was that enough to bring the score down from 10 to 9? I don't think so. If we only have numbers 1 through 10 to work, that's 1/10 of the score just for a little 2-second glitch. No, I can't give that. I can't take away 1/10 of the score. So it's still a 10 out of 10 for that. All this save stuff, yes, I would like all of that stuff. I wish you could see what you collect, but it doesn't stop you from collecting things. It's the kind of thing that, like I said, some people might prefer to be able to play through the whole chapter. I would like the ability to choose within the chapter. Maybe that will come with an update. But that's a wish list thing. Does a wish list bring it down from 10 to 9? That's more likely to bring it down to a 9 for me, but then I step back and I look at all the other positive things I was talking about, and even though the wish list is a much stronger thing for me than the 2-second glitch in the frame rate, I don't know, just in the context of the rest of the game, I don't think I can bring it down 1/10 of a point of a score thing, even for my wish list not being there, because maybe they'll add it. It doesn't stop the game from being played. It doesn't stop me from enjoying the game. So yeah, I think I'm glad that, as I was saying before, glad that Metacritic didn't take my score initially, because I was giving it a 9 out of 10, but out of greater thinking, I think I still would give it a 10 out of 10. Now, I don't play too many indie games, so I don't really have too much to compare it to. I was watching the Annapurna presentation, and like I saw a bunch of their other games. They have. I didn't realize they did Eden Finch, and I did get that game on sale. It's been sitting in my library, and I haven't played it yet. But now I want to play it because it's an indie game by this company, and everyone says this company releases good stuff. So I'm going to check it out, and maybe I'll have more context, an indie game context, and see how this stacks up with those other games. But from someone that hasn't played too many indie games and is playing all of these AAA giant open world, takes 45, 50, 60, 70 hours to complete, seeing how this does it, I gotta say, I do like it. Those other games, Rage 2 made me rage. Things weren't loading. There was tons of problems in Rage. In Rage 2, I had to play Rage 1. So, yeah, and there's games where just like, you're not, like, things just don't seem fair. Like, why can't I do this thing? I could do it before, and now I can't do it now. And I don't understand what the rules are with all of that. So, those bigger games can definitely piss me off in ways that this game did not. There were moments I was like, no, I hit dodge. I'm pretty sure I hit dodge, but everything's happening so fast. Maybe I didn't, and I'll master it. Again, it wasn't enough in the context of other games, in the context of how this game wants to be. I don't want to just throw around the 10 out of 10 thing. I don't want to seem like I'm just loving the game because I'm a cat person. But I did love it. I mean, I loved Last of Us Part 2. I feel like I would give that a 10 out of 10. And maybe I can just tell that I like the game, because those are the two games I bought day one. So maybe I could just tell from the trailers. I just knew that I would like it, and I had played Part 1, so I knew a lot of what to expect. But yeah, there's games that I've rage quit games before. I'm not just throwing out 10 out of 10s left and right because I'm just amazed of, hey, it's a video game. Look, I can play a character and do things. Oh my god. So anyway, that's my review. I think, how long have we been going for? 24 minutes. I don't really have much other stuff to say. It might be fun to try more speedruns, since I use this slot as my speedrun slot after I did a speedrun here. So 2 of these 13 hours were for me doing a speedrun, and only after finishing it did I realize that the speedrun doesn't count unless you start a new save slot. You can clear it. I was wondering if you could do that, because what if I want to try another speedrun fresh? How would I do that? But okay, I can clear it. That's good. Yep, so that's all I got to say. I really did enjoy the game. I really, really hope that there's some sort of additional content, playable content, whether that be a DLC, a part 2, something like how there was Spider-Man, and then there's Spider-Man Miles Morales, which was its own story, but wasn't as long as Spider-Man, or what would be Spider-Man 2 after that. It was just sort of in the middle there. It was too long to be a DLC, but too short to be its own like full-fledged game. But it was a full game, but it was sold for a little bit cheaper. And it came with Spider-Man 1 remastered, so yeah, if they could add something, a full second game, or even a smaller game than this, as small as this was, even if the game is shorter than that, just to tie up some loose ends. If it's a bigger game, that'd be great too. Or a DLC. I would just love to have something else. I'm hoping that this game was as short as it was because not only was it the studio's very first game, but maybe they also just wanted to see how it would be received before they got a budget and decided to, all right, well, now we know that this game really does have success, so now we can go in and actually spend the time and the money to build a much larger world. So maybe they'll do something like that. But the cat's out of the city, so how would the cat explore now? I don't know. I feel like maybe the cat would have to return here because B12, I would assume, is in the system. And maybe there's just something else going on. Maybe humans aren't completely extinct. I think I was mentioning this at the end of one of my videos. Humans aren't actually extinct, and that wall that was closed was not keeping them in. It was keeping something worse out. And now that the thing that was worse has now infiltrated this city, and now we got to go back into it, and it's not going to be dark anymore. It's not going to be constantly nighttime, but maybe there's other threats, human threats, that can spot you even more easily. And it looked like, when you see the view from the city, there was clearly way more parts of the city that we never explored. So they have room to add new environments in the game, more indoor areas. It can be different types of buildings that have different types of styles of interiors. So they have the room to do it, and I hope they do something like that, but we'll see. And maybe I'll do a review when I get it of the hard copy, the I Am 8-bit collector's thing here. See if I can even pull it up. And they had one for PS4 and PS5. I kind of wish that I got the PS4 version, actually, because it's the same price. And then I can, for free, upgrade to the PS5 version. So I would really have 2 games. But, so this is, oh, okay. Bring down the brightness. I forgot I have to bring down the brightness. Better. So it comes with a poster. It comes with the game, the hard copy of the game with a black slipcover over it, a little soft plushy thing of some kind with the logo on it, and some artwork, which my camera's PS5 camera is not doing too well. I Am 8-bit exclusive edition premium matte black O sleeve with holofoil specialty. Oversized 14.4 by 24 poster of the iconic first teaser art, 6 premium and frameable art cards, a fuzzy petable Chanel patch of, you guessed it, our feline hero, region-free physical disc, worldwide compatibility. So that's pretty cool. Yeah, so that's been pre-ordered. I pre-ordered it, but they don't ship them out until Q4 2022. So hopefully I'll get it soon. Okay. Yeah, that's my review. That's what I hope to see in the future. Would love to play more of this. Would love some additional content. Very few bugs. None of them broke the game. A few things on my wish list, but nothing that makes me dislike the game. I thought the story was short, sweet, and to the point. Graphics were quality looking graphics. Physics were quality looking graphics. I love the new idea of how, being a cat. I think that was a great sort of fresh idea at gameplay. Really liked it. I am going to give it a 10 out of 10 for whatever that's worth. And thank you for listening to me ramble on about it. I'll see you in whichever video I do next. I'll see you there. Take care. Bye-bye.